Yeah, this is Bang Bang Rahal. Please press the like button and subscribe. Uh, Years ago, I met a guy in Twickenham um, called Micky Francis. Micky Francis, I used to look after a club, yeah, and a bar by my mate Wally Angus, and nice guy, little Wally. Game, good fighter. I think it was a flyweight. I'm not quite sure what weight it was, but good fighter. And I was to work. I was looking after this club for a bit of time before moving to Lewisham and all that, that and the other. Yeah. Anyway, I walked in here one day, and it being open about an hour. I walked in there one day, and there's my mate Micky Francis, who I was in Albury with. You know, it's nice to see someone like you ain't seen it for ages. Yeah, I like Micky, and I was told him what happened to me for my sentence and me being on 1074, and he was gutted. You know, he heard what I did, and he heard that I got moved about and I got bashed up. A lot of people said that I died in prison. I said, no, I'm still here, mate. You know what I mean? Anyway. Micky Francis introduced me to Joe Pyle. Joe Pyle was a nice, powerful man. I mean, I've heard about him, you know, and I know he was a gangster. You know, it's nice to meet these people, you know, and shook his hand and all that. And Joe Pyle, a nice guy, you know, he said, John, I said, no, I'm working, don't I, mate? He said, no. Okay. And I met a guy called Alex Steen. Alex Steen was a promoter, boxing promoter with Joe Pyle. Alex Steen, dark sunglasses. He had a jacket on, what was about 4 foot wide. I swear on my life. The shoulders was massive, yeah. Alex Steen, nice guy, proper gangster. And I was with Joe Pyle, and I'm walking, I'm looking after the place. So anyway, Micky came up to me and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, you know, I'm just come out, and Micky France just give me a couple of bob. Joe Pyle give me a few shares as well, not a few shares, give me a couple of £100, which is nice, you know what I mean? Bit of respect there. Like, he doesn't know me, he ain't got to give me no money. Anyway, so I'm there with him, and we're chatting, and end of the night comes, and Micky says to me, "Look, here's my number. Give me a tinkle. I'd like to have a meet with you tomorrow, have a chat about something." Yeah, I went, okay. I goes home. I'm now with my mum, but I ain't moved to Lewisham yet. I'm with Christine anyway. So anyway, I phoned Micky France up, go down to Fulham to meet him by Charing Cross Station, Charing Cross Hospital. Go there, meet Micky, and he's going, "Look, I've got a bit of debt collecting for Joe Pyle. Do you want to come with me for a bit of money?" I said, "Yeah. I met to go to Putney Bridge. There was a club down there. It was down the stairs. Went in there with Micky Francis, and he went in to see this guy. He happened to know the guy that owes the money to him. Next thing you know, I could hear all this smashing and crashing, mate. And anyway, there was a few people in there, people that worked behind the bar. No bouncers in there. Only the guy that owns it. And I walked into this room, mate, and Micky Francis was throwing this guy around like a rag doll. Micky Francis, short, powerful guy, mate, could have it, yeah. He's throwing this guy around like a rag doll. I mean, he smashed this guy to pieces, mate. He smashed this, honestly, he smashed this. Why this guy just didn't give up, mate, I don't know. The guy was trying to have a fight, but Micky just smashed him to pieces. Knocked the guy out, mate. Knocked the guy out. Micky hit him across the head with this big, like a air conditioning thing. Bang! Down across the head with that air. Smashed him to pieces. And safe was open. Micky just took everything in there, big bag of money and bits and pieces and cash what was in there, and went to the tills, took all the money out of the tills. Didn't give a monkeys, mate. Took everything out of the tills, the floats, everything. Just said, shut your mouth, keep your mouth shut, don't make the phone calls, this, that, and the other, you're in trouble, you know what I mean? Walked out there, I thought, fucking hell, I've just come out of prison, do you know what I mean? And Micky said, come, we're going to get a cab. And Bob got a cab over to Joe Pyle. Over there, see Joe Pyle, give Joe Pyle his bits of money. Micky Francis had a big bit of money, but Micky Francis I've got to say it, fair play to Micky Francis, mate. He give Joe Pyle everything he got, bar maybe what, 300 quid, 400 quid for cab fares and bits and pieces, yeah. So Joe Pyle give him what he give him. I think he gave him a couple of bags, you know, and he gave me £500. Nice. I mean, come on, mate. I mean, it's a lot of money for me. You know what I mean? So Micky said to me, "Look, you know, do you want to do a bit of work with me while you?" I said, yeah, of course. Anyway, I started doing bits of work with Micky. Went over to Joe Pyle's pub, because we didn't meet Joe Pyle in that pub at the time. But went over to Joe Pyle's pub, and I see a big ring in the pub. Joe Pyle you know, at a boxing thing in there, and he was talking to me about fighting, and he sat in the other. I said, "Listen, that's my game. You know, I trained to be a pro. I used to spar with Bugner, Billy Ed, and people like that. You know what I mean?" And he said to me, "Look, you know, you interested?" I said, "Yeah, I am. Yeah, big time, yeah." And he said, "Look, you know, one day, why don't you come down to Beckett and come down and do a bit?" But anyway, something happened between Joe Pyle, Micky Francis. I don't know what it was. I ain't got a clue what it was. But Micky Francis would come to Ealing Common. I was working at Crispin's at the time in Ealing. And Micky Francis coming there and caused a lot of problems for me. Bashed up a few guys in the wine bar. Micky Francis was a bit of a pain in the arse, a bit of an headache, but that is what he did. He was an enforcer, but took it over the top. He didn't have to bash people up anyway, like he did, yeah. So I told him I didn't want to see him anymore, coming in and bashing people up in the wine bar. I did see him because he's my pal, you know what I mean? But like that, you know, I didn't want to see him up here no more. And he just disappeared, mate. He just went, I mean, one day he was there with me talking and causing problems, chucked him out, and didn't chuck him out, told him not to come here no more. And the next thing you know, phoned him up, and his wife said, "Look, I don't know what's happening, but no one's seen him. He just disappeared off the face of this planet, mate. He'd gone. No one knows where. I kept trying to find him. I couldn't find him nowhere, you know." Anyway, so now I'm, you know, a bit confused, you know, what's going on, you know what I mean? And I goes down, now Christine, she moves to Lewisham. I moved to Lewisham with Christine, and then I meet all the fighters, all the people that I'm supposed to meet, and you know, well, not supposed to meet, that I met, you know, that made me into this, what I'm now really, my book and all this, everything really is about them. Everything's wrapped around them, you know. So I goes there, and so I go to the pub, meet a lot of people, meet a lot of faces, and then I go to the Beckett. I'm training really hard. I go to the Beckett, meet Jimmy Tibbett. I'm there with Jimmy Tibbett. One day he comes in, Roy Shaw, and we have a few rounds. But not only Roy Shaw come in, a couple of other people come in. Alex Steen comes in. Alec didn't really say too much about me. I looked at him, knew who he was. As I said, I'm seeing Dan Wallis. Didn't really say nothing to me. I don't know if he recognised me or whatever, but he must have. I mean, come on. And then I had a fight with Brian Hall down at Mayfair, Tottenham. Anyway, and then what's more crazy is that when I eventually met Joe Pyle again, you know, I was close to Joe then, I was talking to him because I already met with Micky Francis. I said to Joe Pyle, "Mate, have you seen Micky Francis about, mate?" He said, No, mate, I ain't seen him. He come a few times, you know, do a bit of work for me. He just disappeared. I phoned his wife up. She said no one's seen him. He just disappeared. I don't know what's happened there. I don't know if he upset the wrong people, and he got missing. Yeah, but it seems a shame. You know what I mean? The guy, if anybody knows it's Micky Francis, or Micky Francis is listening to me, how you going, Mick? Get in touch, mate. She is. You know what I mean? It's 1979. You know, it's 1980. You know what I mean? I ain't seen you, bub. A long old time. What's that? 30 years, 40 years? Come on, mate. Get in touch if you can, yeah? Anyway, by that time, I'm now doing my illegal fights and all that, and I'm doing my fighting. And I mean, to meet Joe Pyle, for me was it's nice, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? A young kid, not young, but you know, you hear about these gangsters, and you know, it's nice to meet him. Alex Steen, I mean, Alex Steen, proper gangster, Alex Steen, mate. And a lot of people have not heard of Alex Steen. And not a lot of people, everyone's heard of Joe Pyle. And now his boy does a lot of Joe Pyle things. He does podcasts about Joe. But it was nice for me to meet Joe and Ray Bender and all that little firm. And there's a lot of people, because Alex Steen used to knock about a guy called Ray Bender. That was Ronnie Bender's brother. I met all them. I met all them people as well down at the gym. You know, when you go to these the pro gyms, like the Beckett and all them sort of places, you meet people like that. And Alex Steen was right interested in me. I was a bit of a fool. I should have went with Alec at the time, but I went with Jimmy Tibbett. Alex Steen wanted me, mate. They wanted me to be with them. I'd been in the same stable as Roy Shaw, but I didn't. I don't know why. Perhaps I was a bit frightened of the gangsterism at that time. You know, getting involved with it, all that, because my mate Micky France just went missing. It seems very strange to me that he just 1 minute he's there, the next minute he's gone. You know, so I was a bit, oh no, I don't want to get involved in this, mate. I'll be the next one going missing. You know what I mean? I ain't having that. So I pulled away from it, but I kept seeing Alex down the fights. Kept seeing Joe Pyle at the fights. Roy Shaw, I was always seeing Roy Shaw at the fights. Roy, never see a lot of Lenny, you know. Never see a lot of Lenny at the fights. Heard a lot of stories about Lenny and all that. And you know, the only time me and Lenny really had words was at the Tottenham Mayfair, and when I used to spar with him down at the ring, and that's a Vic Andretti's pub, yeah. But other than that, I never see a lot of Roy, a lot of Lenny. I heard a lot of stories about Lenny when he was working on doors and he was doing enforcer work. I mean, you know, I always sort of like run Lenny down a bit, you know. I run him down, but it's what we do on this podcast. But Lenny was a proper man, yeah. He was a proper man, mate, and you know, he was good what he done. He was a good enforcer. I mean, he took a lot of steroids. I think Micky France was maybe involved in it because Micky France and Lenny used to work together in a club, and Micky France was a bodybuilder. Micky France was a powerful man, powerful body. He's a short guy, but powerful. But I got a funny feeling it was Micky France that got Lenny Roy on the voice, and I know Lenny died of cancer, but I think the Roy's was something to do with that. Because now, I don't know, people follow podcasts and also YouTubes. You see a lot of these bodybuilders now, they're all keeling over from cancer, this, that and the other. And most of it is from the roids, yeah? A lot of them get heart attacks and it's the roids. The roids attacks the heart, attacks all the lungs, it attacks all the arteries. It just, you know, I mean, come on. A lot of these roids are so powerful, mate. I mean, you've got to remember, one of the biggest muscles in your body, as far as working concerned, is the heart, yeah? The heart is a muscle, yeah? So when all the roids attack the muscle, they're attacking the heart as well. So the heart's trying to pump. It's harder for the heart to pump the blood around the body, you know, but that causes a lot of problems for these bodybuilders. They're taking more gear, you know. Beg your pardon. Sorry. A lot of these bodybuilders go on these machines that clear out your blood. When you've got kidney problems and all that, you go on these dialysis machines. There's big dialysis machines. A lot of them, I think it's Yates, not Bill Yates, is it? Bill Yates, I forget his name now. Big bodybuilder. He's got one of them machines. I mean, them machines, you know, they pump all the blood around the body, but also what they do, they take the blood, the dirty blood out of your body, put it through the machines, and it comes back as clean blood, yeah? So that's what they do. It's like, so much steroids, they can't take much more. So they go on these dialysis machines. The dialysis machine cleans the blood, cleans it, puts the blood back in the body as clean blood, so then they can go back on the steroids again. This is why they get massive, yeah? You know, this is what they get clean their blood, yeah? And they go back on the voice and get absolutely ginormous, yeah? I mean, I was 23, 22 stone myself on drugs. And do you know what? All jokes aside, yeah? When I was on the roids, it got to a stage, I mean, I couldn't even walk up to the stairs to my bedroom. And I had a big spiral staircase, a big wide spiral staircase in my place, in my front room, that goes up to the bedroom. I couldn't even go up there, mate. My heart wouldn't take it. I was always out of breath. And I could train. I could train on the weights, but as far as the running's concerned, I couldn't do it. As far as walking's concerned, I couldn't do it. It just attacked my heart and my lungs, yeah? And I found it very, very hard. I don't know if people out there watching my podcast, but even the bodybuilders, perhaps they know more about. I mean, them days, perhaps it was different. Testosterone and the Decas and all them sort of things was a different sort of drug. Perhaps it isn't like it is today. They've got stuff today that, I mean, certain part your body's got, your arm's got 2 muscles or 3 muscles. Now they've got 6 muscles in them. You know what I mean? They've got muscle. They got steroids that cut muscles in half, and all this. Come on, it's ridiculous. But anyway, I wasn't really talking about that. I'm talking about Len, you know, and Lenny got on the voice. I think it was Micky France that got him on it actually. Anyway, but you know, Lenny began to get massive, and like, sorry, I've got a runny nose, man. I don't know what it is. And as I say, Lenny got massive, and Lenny died of cancer, and it made me quite sick. The time I met Lenny, I forget what he was, 80s. I met Lenny in Brixton when he was up for that murder, and I see him in Brixton, mate. And honestly, I'm not joking. He looks in a mess, mate. He looked in a mess. I mean, perhaps it was coming off the roids. I don't know what it was, or maybe they was pumping him up with so much gear because they heard about him and knew who he was. Perhaps he might have kicked off in there, and they're pumping him up with all the drugs, yeah. The Largactos, the tryptophans, and all these things they pump into their body. Well, I've had it myself, yeah. So it can cause plenty of damage. You don't know that you know, they should look into it. His family. You don't know if the drugs that the prison was pumping into Lenny that killed Lenny, yeah, because they've killed a lot of people. These you know, prisons with the stuff they pump into their body. There's a guy that does podcast now. This ex medical screw. I mean, you know, you should listen to what he does. Listen to what he used to do. He used to pump gear in people's bodies. All these Largactos and tryptophans and shit like that. Used to pump into their bodies, and you know, and there's no point laughing about it. It was to give them inject, which he injects in people, and you know, and mong them out, mong you out, mate. And that's like they're killing you, mate. He's attacking the heart. You know what I mean? And they're gonna, in the end, all them drugs kill you. I mean, look at what happened to my geezer I also look after in Chelmsford Prison, George Wilkinson. I mean, he had enough gear to knock over an elephant. He had a beaker, little blue beakers. Anybody remember them in prison? The little blue, not the big blue beakers, but the little blue beakers, yeah? He had one of them full up with drugs, mate. Full up with all sorts of drugs, like Gactrals and tryptophans and lismogadons and fucking whatever, yeah? Come on, like, you know, and they killed him. They killed this geezer in the end, George Wilkinson. And it's a big, big thing. Fighting for your life. You get a book called Fighting for Your Life and read it. Most of it's about a geezer called George Wilkinson. It's not about anybody else. It's about George Wilkinson. And I'm in there, 131-549 Hill. I mean, I looked after George for a bit of time in Chelmsford Prison, but they killed him. Listen, they killed him, mate. All that geezer wanted to do was get to see his old mum. And when he eventually did see his old mum, they thought, oh, we'll send him now to his local prison so he could see his old mum. He didn't know his old mum. He didn't even recognise his old mum. He killed his old mum, mate. By you know, his mum loved him so much that when she eventually went to see him, he didn't even know her. So not only did they killed George, they killed his mum too, because he broke his mum's heart. That, you know, I mean, George Wilkinson went through so much to see his mum, right? To see his old mum, that in the end of it all, they gave him so much gear, they didn't even recognise his mum. And his poor mum, broken heart, mate, she died of a broken heart. I mean, come on. Whether or not she died of other things, but the broken heart was most of it, you know what I mean? And they killed 2 people, mate. This is what they do. And this is why people out there, yeah, right, should remember this, yeah. If you're going to go in prison, if you're going to do gangsterism, and blow up people and stab people and rob banks and all this. Well, I was one of them people, mate. In the end, yeah, they're going to get hold of you in prison and they're going to give you drugs. If they don't give you it internally in an injection, they give you it in a little beaker, right? And you'll be taking that and you get addicted to it. And when you come out of prison, you'll be addicted to it. You can't get off of it, yeah? Like Gactrals and all them sorts of things. Do yourself a favour, yeah? Keep out of prison. Keep out of prison. If you're sort of a person like myself who was a bit rough already when they went in prison, a gangster, yeah, want to fight everybody, want to do this, sort of do that, yeah, they can kill you, mate, easy. They can kill you easy. That is there as a closed shop, yeah. Prison is a closed shop because once you go in that big gate, no one else knows what's going on. Only you. No one else knows what's going on. Only you. People outside can't come and see you, mate. They don't know what's going on. People driving by in cars, walking past the prison, don't know what's going on. Don't know what's going on, mate. They can do whatever they like with you. You can go in there as the biggest hard gangster you can be. Don't worry about that. These people say this and that about. Listen, I was one of the hardest guys ever in prison. I'm telling you that now, yeah. I could have a right to well, and I respected in there, yeah. And I wasn't fighting no one. But the only people I was fighting of was the prison officers, was the system. Because you can't beat that system, mate. It don't matter how big, tough you are. Craze, Dixons, Benders, Tibbses. There's so many names. Lances, Frasers. You can't beat them, mate. You can't beat the system. They all say, when I get out, I'm going to kill them. When you get out, you don't. You don't do a thing. Because you don't want all that again. And what happens? We do silly things, we go back in there again. And listen, right? Best thing in the world, right? I think, personally, is to try and be as straight as you can. We all like a pound note, yeah? We all like to live a good life. We all want a proper life, yeah? I'm lucky now, yeah? I'm very, very lucky that I met a nice guy called Terry, and he's put me in front, yeah? He's the one laying out the money for my book. I know this book's going to go a long way, yeah? Because I've got big stories. No one's got stories like me, and no one's been in prison like me, and gone through what I've gone through. There's plenty of people on podcasts saying this, that and the other, but believe me, mate, no one's gone through what I have, yeah? I'm still around. Of course, I'm suffering still. I'm suffering for what I went through. I had bad nights, you know what I mean? But I pulled through it, mate. I pulled through it and come out the other side. This time with my book. Perhaps I could even get a film out of this, you know what I mean? Because it's such a good story, mate. Not all them other books. Them other books are nothing compared with mine, believe me. When it comes out, get it. Get it. I don't even know yet the name of the book. The publisher who's doing this book, yeah, and the ghostwriter who's doing my book, they won't even let me know what the name of the book is going to be because they know I'm going to put it on my podcast, yeah, and I'll spoil it. This book, listen, every week now I go and talk to them about my book. The book's done now. We've got 100,000 words and a bit more, yeah, but I talk to them about certain parts of my stories, and sometimes we're putting more into it because you remember things, yeah. You've got to remember the old head goes, don't it? You don't think you forget this, and as soon as you start talking about the story, oh my God, I remember this bit. So you put a bit more in, and so in the end of the day, that 100,000 words becomes 150,000 words, 160,000 words. You know. Anyway, this is going to be a good book, and I want everybody to get this book. You know, and once you read it, you'll see. You're going to go, my God, it's unbelievable what this guy went through, and he's still around, yeah? You know what I mean? Because I'm a powerhouse, mate. I'm strong, not only in my body am I strong, in my heart I'm very strong. I never cry, mate. I never cried in prison. Only time I cried when they ended a certain punishment for me, 1074. That's the only time. Right. Anyway, please press the like button. Please subscribe. Do you know what? I've done something like 320 videos, podcasts, and I've got, 4,000 subscribers now, and a bit more, and I'm really happy, yeah. And yet, you get people who've done 79, 80 podcasts, and they've got something like 7,000 subscribers. Listen, I'm just happy with what I've got, you know, and I thank everybody that watches my channels. That, you know, I mean, I try to do my best. I remember things like this, that, and the others. Sometimes I lay in bed in the morning and I think, oh, what? I forgot that story. I forgot this story, you know. And then I go on podcasts, you know, and listen to Yami, I mean, Yammy's got some good stories, Yammy, you know. Some of his stories I listen to, and I think, oh my God, yeah, I remember that, I remember this. He gives me ideas as well, Yammy. And it's the same as Yammy's made me listen to my podcast, and it gives him ideas, and he remembers this and remembers that. Because me and him, really, are white old gangsters, you know what I mean? He's done 30 odd years, I've done 26 years, you know, like it's, but come on, he's done 40 years, I don't know how long he's done, but he's done a long time. He puts it together, his podcast, he's a very good talker. I like Yammy. I listen to it. I also listen to his podcast. I don't do a lot of comments in his podcast, but I like what he says. You know, he doesn't exaggerate. He tells it how it is, and that's how it is. Anyway, please press the like button and subscribe. Have a nice day, everybody, and crack on, yeah. Bye bye.